Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. Bugsy's been put back inside again. She has gone for a walk, but she's been a naughty one. So I put her on the naughty step, and we're going to get on with episode 218. Just me and you. How are you? I hope you're happy and healthy doing the things that you love, the people that you love doing them with. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like button for me on the video. Smash the subscribe if you haven't already. We're only 100 away or something from 8K, which is mad, because it was only a few weeks ago we were 100 away from 7K. Absolute bonkers. Really appreciate all the support. Whilst you're at it, hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. Before we get into today's transfer news, views and clues, I want to bring your attention to a video we did yesterday with Jack Kinnicky from the Irish Hotspur and Paul Hotspur, where we got together and we did a live stream that looked at Celtic's setup, their tactics under the Postecoglou system. We looked at the specific player roles and responsibilities and the vulnerabilities of it, and then pivoted to see how it could shape up with the current Tottenham squad. We had to ask questions around whether or not Harry Kane suits it. We'll talk about that in a second. And then also, after doing all that, we then went through a tier maker where we put everyone in the squad into either key player, first team, squad, loan, or in the bin, get out of the club. So go check out that video if you haven't already. I will clip the tactical bit, so you haven't got to trawl through a 2-hour video to find it. You'll see that later on the channel. But the takeaways from it were a couple of things, really. One is, if you're going to play the high line defence, you need specific types of centre-backs and a specific type of goalkeeper. And funnily enough, we are being linked today with a few players, two of which absolutely make sense for the system and will be dream world scenarios, and one of which doesn't make any sense at all, but we are going to talk about that. But before we get into that, I did want to kind of mention, with regards to Harry Kane, right? No one really wants to lose him. A lot of people maybe are resigned to the fact that we might, or suggest that he's probably, you know, needs to go if he wants to complete his career with success. And we know that Real Madrid are circling. They're trying to replace Karim Benzema. Potentially, we're looking at 100 million pound bid coming in, and the question marks have to be over whether or not we let him go. Now, one of the takeaways from the video yesterday was that the specific role that Kyogo plays in the number 9 for Celtic is incredibly different to what is expected of a typical number 9. It's more of a sacrificial lamb who still finds a way to get on the end and score lots of goals, but what's asked of him during the game is oftentimes to be uninvolved with the play, which is kind of entirely 180 from what we expect of Harry Kane at Tottenham. He's the centrepiece and the cornerstone of everything. In the Celtic system, it's really the number 6, Callum McGregor, who is the foundation, who starts every move, and then players like Rio Matate, who and Matt O'Reilly, who are the guys who, you know, create things further up the pitch. Unless Harry Kane is willing to sort of move out of the number 9 role and move back into like a number 10 role and do the Matt O'Reilly job or do the Matate role, then it's unclear to me that Harry Kane will be best put to use in a Postecoglou system anyway. We know that he can adapt to any system, but does he really want to do the kind of chasing down dark alleys and you know, just running all day for the benefit of the team? I'm not so sure. And so maybe, just maybe, when you look at the rest of the squad and you kind of go run your eye over it and think, to play for 4 years, to play a Postecoglou system that is very different to how our current squad looks, it's going to require quite a lot of overhaul, and that will require quite a lot of money. And so maybe there's a lot more logic now, in my mind, to allowing Harry Kane leave for 110 million, 100 million, and then adding that money to the transfer budget that already would be there, plus the 50 million pound from the 150 that wasn't spent last summer or last season, plus any player transfer departures, the money that's raised from that. You know, put that all together and give Postecoglou a really healthy budget to go and get what he needs to reshape the squad in his vision. And that players are not going to be cheap, right? They're not going to be cheap. We're linked with a goalkeeper, David Raya. Today, the links have progressed from being linked with clickbait headlines and aggregators to journalists that have at least some consideration towards integrity, at kind of mainstream media, The Independent, The Observer, The Telegraph, those sorts of candidates are talking about David Raya to either Tottenham or Aston Villa. The agent is still pushing for this transfer fee to come down from 40 million to 20 million. I'm not sure whether or not the chairman, is going to allow that to happen. They have just replaced Raya with Flecken from Freiburg, and there is the threat that he will leave next summer for free if there is no negotiation on the price. But to me, Tottenham don't want to miss this one, and whatever it takes to get it done, he is the perfect guy. His ability between the sticks as a shot stopper is second to none. He's agile, he can get down, he can come and get crosses, but more importantly, for a specific Postecoglou system, he's a brilliant distributor of the ball. He can play the sweeper keeper role, which is going to be key for the high line defence. He's a great communicator. He has everything that we need for that system, and so whether it's 20, 30 or 40 million pounds, you don't want to lose it and run the risk of finding him playing for another club in the Premier League this season coming. We know that there's lots of other Premier League clubs that are competing for a top goalkeeper. Manchester United want to replace David Raya. Chelsea are looking to replace Kepa. Aston Villa, who in those articles today are the other kind of key club that are also competing for Raya, they're looking to maybe replace Martinez. Unai Emery has apparently a good relationship with David Raya, so there might be difficulties in who's got the bigger draw. I don't think that European football is really going to come into it. If it does, it'll be strange. Tottenham have got a lot of European pedigree. I think we've been in Europe, every season that every single player who's currently playing football has been a professional. Tottenham have been in Europe, apart from this season coming. So it's probably, a momentary pause. And whilst Villa have the Conference League to offer, it's unclear to me whether or not they will continue to be a European candidate ongoing. We'll have to wait and see how serious their chairman is. And it looks, for argument's sake, it does look like he is pretty serious about getting things moving at Villa Park as well. Anyway, it will be interesting. David Raya, pay the money, Daniel Levy. Get it done. It would be brilliant to get this guy in. That would be a piece of the jigsaw. Get that done early, and Tottenham can start to get excited. The next name out of the hat that's been linked with us today is Aymeric Laporte, the Manchester City centre-back. I've spoken about him before on this channel. He's perfect for us. Manchester City play the exact same system that Postecoglou wants to play. He's brilliantly experienced at it. He is a leader. He would immediately improve Christian Romero by having that calmed, reassuring presence who speaks the same language as Romero next to him, who can also communicate very, very well as just a player generally. Laporte would, like the rising tide lifts all boats in that back four with Laporte in there. He's also very strong in the air, very commanding. He's a brilliant ball-playing centre-back, and he's not slow either. We talked a couple of days ago on the chat on one of these videos about looking at Edmund Tapsoba, who ticks all the boxes as well, and he is someone who's got lightning pace, which is such an important role. You need somebody in your back four to have that electric pace to be able to get back in the event where the transition happens against you and the ball is put over the top and you're playing against a team with lightning quick forwards. You need a lightning quick defender to get back and to support the goalkeeper who will be sitting on the edge of the box. Kyle Walker has that at Manchester City. Tapsoba has that for Leverkusen. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Laporte has that pace, but he's not slow. He's certainly not slow, and he's proven his competence in that style of football at Manchester City. So if Tottenham can get hold of him, and the alleged price is 40 million, then again, get it done. Don't miss it for a biscuit, Daniel Levy. The question marks are, of course, whether or not Laporte would want to come down to Tottenham. But again, in those same kind of tier 1 journalists this morning, they are again linking him to Aston Villa. Seems like Tottenham and Villa are going after a lot of the same players. So it will be interesting to see how these players measure up, Tottenham versus Villa. Who do they see as the more attractive option? A team that has kind of been insignificant for a long period of time, and that under Unai Emery have had a couple of months of pretty significant momentum, and they've definitely got an ambitious owner behind them and a manager, like I say, who knows what he's doing, and an interesting, good squad. Or do they want to look at Tottenham, who is, I think you could say, I think it's fairly reasonable to say, a bigger club, got everything in place, all of the pieces of the jigsaw in place, with the exception of a few key or several key good players and that philosophy that can take us back. Maybe playing with good football under Ange Ball might be the difference in getting people over the line, or otherwise. Time will tell. But for me, Laporte at £40 million, get it done, Daniel. Whether Manchester City want to deal with Tottenham because of Pep Guardiola's relationship with Daniel Levy is another question. Time will tell on that one as well. But if it's possible, get it done. The risk I see, though, is that Tottenham fans like myself are going to see the name Aymeric Laporte being linked with us, and that is going to be the benchmark. That is going to be the baseline now. And anyone that's not quite as good as Laporte, but is miles better than what we have, is deemed not good enough because we've only got our eyes set on him. Just like last season, Bastoni and Guardiola were linked. That was it. Anyone less than them is not good enough. And there is an ocean of space, an ocean of quality space between Laporte or Bastoni and players like Raya. There's been links between Tottenham and a guy called Connor Cody from Everton, £4.5 million. A lot of Tottenham fans will probably turn your nose up to him and think he's not good enough. He's miles better than what we have. Miles better than what we have. And I'm not suggesting he should come in and be a first teamer, but he could come in and fill the kind of squad rotation place that Davinson Sanchez currently fills, or if Clement Longley is going back, then having as that kind of rotation player, or Joe Rodon. Right? If all those players are going to leave the club, we need other players to come in, and Connor Cody for me would be at £4.5 million. Great value for money, and someone that is dependable enough to do a good job. Maybe Tarkowski from Everton is another player we could look at, but that's for a different conversation. One of the people I don't want us to be looking at and buying is a player that we are currently linked with, which is worrying me, and that is Harry Maguire. We were linked with him all last season. In January, there were rumours that we were going to bring him in on a loan with an option to buy, and I was okay with it in principle then, because we were playing with a back three, and he would have come in and taken the place of Eric Dyer in the middle, and he is an improvement on Eric Dyer in a back three. But does he fit a back four? No. Does he fit a high line? Absolutely not. The only really kind of redeeming, endearing quality that you could think about Harry Maguire is his incredible ability to get on the end of crosses at the other end of the pitch. Aerially, he's superb, but does he have the physical attributes to be able to play a high line? No, absolutely not. And Tottenham are being linked with him. I don't really understand why. If Postecoglou wants him, then I'll back whatever Postecoglou wants. I'm just a fan, but my opinion is that he doesn't suit the system or impress me at all. In the story, for what it's worth, they were saying that maybe the relationship between Harry Kane and Harry Maguire is strong enough, and that buying him would be somehow some way of trying to convince Harry Kane to stay at Tottenham, because they have a good friendship, and that Harry Kane recommended Harry Maguire to Tottenham executives last season, and maybe it was some way to replace his best mate. Remember that Tottenham obviously got rid of Matt Doherty, that was Harry Kane's best mate in the squad, and that didn't go down too well with Harry Kane. So, I mean, listen, if that is the kind of carrot to try and get Harry Kane to stay, then we're really clutching at straws. It's not worth it. You've got to see the wood for the trees. Harry Maguire, in my opinion, cannot play a high line and can't play a back four. So I don't want to see it, but it is being linked, so I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Guys, I got to go. That is it. Keep an eye out for the little clip of the tactical board. Let me know your thoughts on Harry Maguire. Let me know your thoughts on Aymeric Laporte. Let me know your thoughts on David Raya, and I will see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, and comment, guys. And as always, bye bye.